What's up guys, Travis here from Outdoors with Travis, and today we're going to go through how to set up your CBE Trek Pro 3-pin slider sight. Although this is an all-in-one sight, a slider and a multi-pin, you do want to set up the versions of the sight individually. So we're going to focus on the multi-pin version of the sight first, and what that encompasses is sending the sight all the way to its dead stop position. Now what is a dead stop position? We're going to turn the sight all the way up until it hits this pin over here on this little lip that stops it from going further up. Once it's all the way up, it cannot physically go anymore. Lock this down. Now, out the box, this whole sight housing and these distance indicators will be off the white tape. And what you want to do is you want to loosen this Allen key, and if you flip it around, this Allen key, and that allows this entire sight housing to move up or down. And what you'll probably have to do is move it down until one of your sight indicators are touching the white blank tape. So your sight is cranked all the way up into its dead stop position with the dead stop pin activating on that lip, and you have moved the entire sight housing down with those 4 Allen keys, 2 on each side, and you moved it down until your distance indicators are touching your blank tape. Now you are ready to shoot at a super close distance. We just want to dial in our left and right and our up and down until we're hitting at 10 yards at whatever we're aiming at. Quick disclaimer guys, I don't have the tools to adjust my third, second and first axis, so I would recommend if you do, fantastic. If you don't, head to your nearest pro shop and have them adjust those for you before you get into the nitty-gritties of sighting in the multi-pin version of the sight and then the slider version of the sight. I'm aiming here, but I'm hitting low and right. And so now we're going to show you how to make those adjustments on your sight. Remember, we're only shooting 10 to 15 yards, and we want to make sure we spot on here before we adjust our first pin 20, second pin 30, and third pin 40. So let's tackle the fact that I'm shooting a little bit right. How we're going to do that is we're going to hit onto the sight just over here, and you'll see there's a lock-in bolt over here. We're going to loosen it clockwise, and now we can turn this dial in the direction that we need this sight to go. Something that's super crucial guys, if you are shooting right, then you move your sight right, and if you're shooting left, you move your sight left. You always move the sight in the direction that the arrow has gone. So if it's shooting low, you move your sight down. If it's shooting right, move it right. If you're shooting left, move it left. If you're shooting high, move it up. We adjusted the fact that I have shot right and we moved the sight right, so it should be almost on. I might have to make a few more adjustments, but I was also shooting low. Now we are not going to adjust the slider to compensate for the fact that I was shooting low. Those 4 Allen keys that I showed you guys, 2 on this side and then 2 on this side, we're going to loosen them up. I like to just keep one locked in so that I can not have to loosen all 4 every single time. And we're going to adjust the sight up or down according to where that arrow is landing. I was obviously shooting low, so I'm going to move the sight a little bit lower, and then I should be on target. I'm going to lock it down again. Again, guys, we're not adjusting the slider. We're moving the entire sight housing with those 4 Allen keys sliding on its little groove there. So I made a slight right adjustment. I've made a slight adjustment in its elevation. I moved it down because I was shooting low. And let's see if we can get in that circle here at 10 yards. That one's in the circle. Let's just do one more to confirm. Both in the circle, absolutely perfect. 10 yards, I'm hitting perfectly in the circle. Now I can walk back to 20 and start adjusting and micro adjusting my first pin, my 20-yard pin. Reiterating guys, we are not messing with the slider. It's still in its dead stop position, and we have locked it down with the locking bolt to make sure that we are not messing with it at all. We are now going to start doing our fine tuning on our individual pins, starting with the 20 pin, which is the top pin. Let's run through it. What you're going to see here on the side of the sight, just over here, is 3 Allen keys in these grooves. Obviously this one is the highest, so it must be the first pin. This one looks like it's in the middle, so it must be the second pin, and this one's at the bottom, so it must be the third. You want to put your Allen key in there, and you want to give it 3 full rotations. If you don't give it 3 full rotations, it will not adjust. Once I've given it 3 full rotations, and then using this knob on the top, going clockwise or anti-clockwise, you can adjust that pin up and down. What's really important is, guys, you cannot loosen multiple pins at once and hoping for them all to move up and down. You can only adjust one pin at a time, and obviously we're shooting at 20, so we're using the top pin. I'm going to reiterate, guys, I'm in the deadbolt position. The slider's all the way to the top, and I'm just working on that 20-yard pin, my first pin. You do not have to tighten that pin every time you want to shoot. I leave it loose, and as I shoot, I make these fine adjustments either up or down. So now we're going to just take some shots at 20 and make sure we're comfortable with our first pin at 20 yards. Okay, so that's a bit low, and now just adjusting it a little bit down, I'm going to bring that arrow up. Remember, if I shoot low, I move lower. Right, it's almost exactly on that dot. I'm going to shoot one more. I don't think I even want to make adjustments. I felt like the shot went off well, and I think we have a perfect 20-yard shot placement on pin number 1. Right, 2 arrows in the circle. That means my first pin, 20 yards, is on. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Allen key and I'm going to lock it up. Again, I left it loose the whole time I was adjusting it. And lock it up. Not too tight, you don't want to strip the thread. But there we go. My 20 pin number 1 is set. Now the fun part, we're making progress here. We're moving to sighting in our second pin, which is going to be 30 yards. So I'm going to just range it quick. I want to be as precise as possible. So now I'm 28.7, so I'm going to just take 1 and a bit steps back. Oh, I'm in the sun here. Lovely. And that is 30 on the dot. I'm going to just place my rangefinder here so I can know exactly where 30 is. And I'm going to keep reiterating because I did this. I made these mistakes. Do not touch the slider at all. We are just focusing on the multi-pin side of this sight. So now I'm going to aim with the middle pin, the second pin, which is going to be my 30. It might just be on. Let's do a follow up to make sure. Okay, shot number 2. I was a little low on that second shot, and it felt like I executed the shot perfectly, so I'm going to just make a little bit of an adjustment here on that middle pin, loosening the Allen key, turning this dial a little bit down, leaving it loose so I don't have to keep loosening it and tightening it, loosening and tightening. Second pin, sighting in for 30 yards. And it looks absolutely perfect. So I'm going to tighten that down quickly. Not stripping the screw, just tight enough that it bites. And that is my 30-yard pin. Now we're going to walk it back to 40 and do the exact same thing for the third pin. Guys, I must just urge you, yes, it looks like I'm doing this quickly, but really take your time. I like to say it must take me up to a week to sight to my bow because I must be super confident. There must be no excuses if I wound an animal, miss an animal, hit its shoulder, something like that. It must be 100% my fault. I take accountability for it. So I really put a lot of time and a lot of effort into sighting my bow. But for the sake of the video, I'm just showing you the step-by-step process. But let each step take you a day or a couple of hours on the range to make sure that you're really confident in each pin that you set in, the 20, 30, 40. And then we move to the slider now after setting in our 40, our third pin. Really just take your time, enjoy the process, and you'll have that peace of mind when you're in the bush that you're going to execute a perfect shot because you put the time and effort in setting this up right. We are sighting in third pin at 40 yards. Dead on. 2 arrows dead on. They're not on, exactly how I've shown you just now how to adjust it. Loosen the Allen key, turn the knob on the top. If it's shooting low, send the pin low. Shooting high, send the pin high. You're still shooting left and right at these distances. Make those slight windage adjustments that I showed you right in the beginning of the video. One more arrow to confirm we're happy with pin number 3, 40 yards. And perfect. Really happy with that. I'm going to tighten that down And now, guys, we're going to move to sighting in the slider part of this that makes it such a versatile and probably one of the best sights on the market. Your multi-pin is done, guys. It's in the dead stop position, and you micro-tuned your first pin, your second pin, and your third pin. 20 yards, 30 yards, 40 yards. Now we're going to move to the slider part of this sight. What I want you guys to do is walk back to 30 yards range, confirm you're at 30 yards, and we're going to be using the middle pin for the entire sighting in process now. With your sight in the dead stop position, your middle pin is your 30-yard position. I want you guys to shoot and shoot and shoot until you are 100% confident that that 30 yards is spot on. Your sight's in the dead stop position. You've just shot with the middle pin, your second pin, the 30-yard pin, over and over and over until you are dead on accurate and you're happy with where it is. Then you want to go to the sight distance indicator, this silver and red spears that you have. You might have one, you might have two, and you want to anywhere, as long as it's in line with it, you want to go and make a pencil mark. Guys, I must reiterate, it doesn't matter where, as long as it's lined up with it, it's perfect. Because once we use the CBE sight gauge tool, that is going to determine what sight we have, and then we're going to just fine-tune those distance indicators to work with the sight perfectly. What's really important now is the other distance that we need to get our sight tape exact according to the CBE sight gauge tool system is 60 yards. You can't just walk to 60 and then guess the slider down. You might just miss the butt completely and you start exploding arrows. Not worth it. So what I do is I do 10-yard increments and I guesstimate 10 yards on the slider. This is the first time in this entire setup video that you can actually now move the slider out of the dead stop position. We're at 40 yards. My sight is still in the dead stop position, and now I for once can unlock the slider and I can turn the slider down, and I'm just guesstimating 10 yards. What's important now is understanding that we are doing everything with the middle pin. Everything is with the middle pin until this bow is set up. Right, it was on the target. I'm happy with that. Let's move back to 50. 50 yards on the dot. Guys, I'm not looking to be sniper accurate here or competitive archer accurate over here. All I'm trying to do is work my way to 60 as fast as possible so I can spend all my time and all my energy making sure that 60 is on point. I'm going to guesstimate another 10 yards because I was pretty on that 40. I think that's roughly 50 yards. Spot on, guys, and I'm using a blank sight tape. I have no indicators whatsoever, and I'm just guesstimating 10 yards, and that was exactly where I was aiming, which means let's do another 10 paces range and go back to 60. 60 on the dot. This is where I want you to spend as much time as possible. If you get fatigued, pack the bow up for the day, come back tomorrow, and then try again, but do not rush this process, especially at 60. You can have a good day, a bad day, and that inconsistency can affect you when you're in the bush and you're relying on a good and accurate shot. So now I'm going to just put an arrow in. I'm going to guesstimate another 10 yards because I was just at 50. I'm going to guesstimate 10 yards. On target, which means now we can start playing around. Alright, that is my 60, 100%. So you've spent a day or two or three, you've got this spot on. Your 30 is absolutely awesome. Your 60 is absolutely awesome. I'm going to lock this down at my 60, and I'm going to make a pencil mark once again. So as you can see up there is my 30. And now in line with this indicator, because this indicator is where I drew the line up here, I'm going to do a line for 60. And this is where the awesome stuff happens, guys. Now's the nice part where you can take a seat, you can sit behind a workbench, and you can start doing the nitty-gritties of making this your bow sight. What you should have got in your box with the CBE Trek Pro 3-pin sight is the following. As you should have got 4 sight rings in total. I obviously chose the red one, so spare I've got a white, yellow, and green. You should have got 2 spare distance indicators. I found it very tough to put 3 on, so I only have 2 distance indicators on the sight. you should have got 7 steel sight tapes, and they are all double-sided. And you should have got the CBE sight gauge tool. All of this is necessary, especially your steel sight tapes and the gauge tool, to do the next process. We're going to take the blank sight tape off. It's just 2 Allen keys, one at the top and one at the bottom. Taking your blank sight tape with your pencil markings for 30 yards and 60 yards, you're going to take the CBE sight gauge tool and line up this 30 line with your 30 pencil mark. And what you want to do now is see which letter lines up the best with your 60 mark. And guys, make sure it's precise. It might look really close here. K looks really close. But let's flip it over and see what it says on this side. I line it up perfectly. L. L is identical. So now I'm confident that L is lining up perfectly. I go down here. Okay, so I look for the sight tape L, which is right here. And I'm going to fasten this to my bow. Sight tape is on the sight now. And now what I want to do is unlock that locking bolt. Send the slider into its dead stop position all the way up. Lock it down again. And what I want to do now is start working with the distance indicators. So I'm going to bring you over here to these Allen keys. I've got 2 distance indicators on because I like to use one for the middle pin and one for the bottom pin. As you can see here, the middle pin now in the dead stop position should be 30, but this indicator is showing 20. You want to loosen this Allen key and line the distance indicator up perfectly with 30, just over there. So you've got that distance indicator for the middle pin 30 yards perfectly in line with the sight tapes 30 yards. And what I really want to suggest doing, and it's what I've done and it's worked really awesome, is this. Get a second distance indicator on there for your 40. While you're in the dead stop position, you know that your bottom pin is 40. So if you put your second distance indicator on 40, that too will represent the bottom pin as you use your slider. All I want you guys to do now is go to really obscure distances. 43, 62, 78, very odd yardages, and try and make sure that you are spot on, just to confirm that that sight tape is the right sight tape for you. Guys, I hope this was informative. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. I could have missed something. I spent a ton of hours on this site. I'm really knowledgeable about it. I'm happy to help out. Much love. Thanks for watching. Peace.